You simply can't go wrong. So come along and watch a Samsung.
Hello there, gorgeous people. You probably have been using smartphones for ages now, but have you ever stopped to think about where all those everyday Android Samsung phones come from? Well, me too. So I did some research and found out some really crazy history about the globally renowned brand, Samsung, and trust me, the results are shocking. Now, the real question is, how did Samsung become a global giant of today's generation, and how exactly was the brand invented? Well, let's dive into it. On February 12, 1910, in Wang County, South Ganggang Province, smack dab in the middle of what was then the Korean Empire, our hero, Lee Bong-chu, pops into the world as the youngest son in a family of 4. His parents, Lee Chan-woo and Kwon Jae-lim, were like the Korean equivalent of royalty, wealthy landowners known as Yangban. Young Lee's education journey starts with Yongdong High School in Seoul. But hey, that's not enough for this ambitious guy. He decides to level up and heads off to Waseda University in Tokyo. Now, he didn't quite finish his degree, but that's okay. Lee had bigger fish to fry. Fast forward to 1938, when Japan was doing its thing ruling over Korea. Lee's family packs their bags and heads to Daegu City, where they set up shop and birthed Mitsubishi Trading Company. Yeah, that's right, the baby steps of Samsung. Initially, they're just a small trading crew around 40 strong, dealing in all sorts of goodies, dried fish, groceries, and noodles. Despite the odds stacked against them, Lee and the gang start making waves. The company flourishes, and by 1947, Lee went to Seoul, relocating the headquarters and kicking things into high gear. In the midst of the Korean War craziness, Lee also took the golden opportunity and scooted down to Busan and set up Chiljang, a sugar refinery. But you know what? He wasn't content with just sweetening things up. Nope. In 1954, he founded Chomojich, building the biggest woolen mill in the whole country in Chimsandong, Daegu. Talk about making moves. Meanwhile, back in 1947, Lee and his buddy Cho Hong-ji teamed up and Samsung Trading Corporation was born. Fast forward a bit and it became Samsung C&T Corporation. But guess what? Their partnership hit a bump. Lee and Cho had different ideas about running things, so they decided to go their separate ways. Out popped new businesses, all shiny and independent. In the late 1960s, Samsung decided to level things up headfirst into electronics. They said, "Who's up for some black and white TVs?" And then they began producing them like crazy. That move was just the beginning of Samsung's takeover of the electronics world. However, Samsung too had some real tough times, even though they were riding high on success. One major showdown was with Apple back in 2012. They were basically arguing over who came up with what cool ideas and tech stuff first. It was like a heavyweight bout in the tech ring, showing just how cutthroat the competition can get. But wait, there's more drama. Samsung also had to deal with people giving them flack for how they treated their workers. Some guys were like, "Hey, stop being mean to your employees," accusing them of trying to squash worker groups, which is a fancy way of saying union busting. And get this, there were even reports about kids being put to work in Samsung's factories. Plus, some guys were side-eyeing Samsung for backing groups with some pretty extreme ideas on the right side of things. Talk about controversy. All this mess put Samsung in a real tight spot, especially because they're a big deal in the tech world. People kind of look up to them, you know? So when they're in hot water, it's a big deal. But hey, Samsung didn't just sit around idling around. Instead, they rolled up their sleeves and got to work fixing stuff. They made promises to treat their workers better and checked out their supply chain to make sure kids weren't getting roped into labor. And as for those controversial groups they were allegedly supporting, Samsung started being more careful about where they threw their cash. It's not easy for a big company like Samsung to deal with all these problems. If not done properly, it would have a lot of impact on their reputation, which is usually very hard to deal with. But by trying to fix things and do better, Samsung shows that they're not giving up. They want to be a good company that people can trust even when things get tough. And that's something worth noticing. Samsung's basically ruling the roost in everything from your sleek gadgets to cutting-edge biopharma stuff. And get this, they're not just about making cool toys, they're all about giving back too. Like, have you heard about the Samsung Medical Center? That's some serious commitment to helping guys out. Plus, they're big on renewable energy, pumping serious cash into green projects. Last but not least, to summarize it all, Samsung's journey is like the ultimate underdog story. Started from the bottom, now they're here, you know? Founder Lee Bi-chul must have had some serious vision and grit. Despite all the curveballs, Samsung's still going strong, bringing us the latest and greatest, boosting South Korea's economy by taking responsibility for 20% of the country's GDP and pushing the tech world forward. So, stay tuned for more Samsung updates, and don't forget to hit the subscription button and let us know about your thoughts in the comments section below.